Hello, and welcome to Inventors Helping Inventors. I'm your host, Alan Beckley, inventor of the Wonder Wallet. If you're an inventor searching for proven ways to make money with your invention, if you dream to see your product selling in stores everywhere, you've come to the right place. There's no better place to get help than from experts, inventors who've already achieved success. Every week, I interview successful inventors, asking them the questions you want to know. Tune in to learn from the experts so you can get your invention out of the tank and into the bank.
Back in October 17, 1997, I was riding around with a client of mine, and I got something I smelled that made me have an asthma attack. And I was using my inhaler, but at that time, the inhaler didn't have a counter on it. And what we found out was the inhaler was empty. And I wound up spending about 3 weeks in the hospital because of that.
As a loyal podcast listener, I wanted to invite you to join our new 3-class workshop, 3 proven steps to your invention success. And what you'll learn is exactly that, proven steps that so many inventors don't know. In this early phase of inventing, inventors often waste thousands of dollars in these areas, and I'm going to show you how to do it right. But you have to act quickly. Just go to alanbeckley.com/proven steps. Now, the 3 workshops kick off starting this Tuesday, the 22nd of October, so I don't want you to miss out. Again, you just go to alanbeckley.com/proven steps. You can get all the information there, sign up and join us, and we will see you Tuesday night, and we're going to guide you through a live interactive workshop with other inventors so you can learn the 3 proven steps to your invention success. See you Tuesday night. I wanted to give you a quick update on my GoFundMe campaign for my new dystopian novel, Earth 2040, Rise of the Bots. I'm excited because in just a short period of time, we've already raised $445 through the contributions of you and others to my campaign. You can find all the details, and if you'd like, donate to my campaign by going to alanbeckley.com/novel. Thanks so much for your help for a project that is near and dear to my heart. Welcome to episode number 452. Today is a rebroadcast of one of our classic favorites, episode number 368, back on January 1st of 2024, with inventor Darryl Carter. He invented the air case, a small case that carries everything an asthma sufferer needs in one place. I think you're going to enjoy this episode as much as I did. Darryl Carter, born in Monroe, Louisiana, graduated from Grambling State University, where he played football for the legendary Eddie Robinson. He went on to play professional football for 2 years and was a scout for the NFL. As a scout, he earned a Super Bowl ring. After football, he went to work for Kroger Food Stores in management for 10 years. Next, he worked for Proline Hair Company as a key account manager covering a 10-state area. During his time at Proline, he developed his first invention, the Magic Shaver, which is a plastic razor that removes depilatory cream and hair from faces effectively. The Magic Shaver was part of Carson Product Company product line. When a severe asthma attack put him into the hospital for 3 weeks, he invented a better solution for asthmatics and COPD sufferers. His innovative air case holds asthma inhalers, pills, and features an easy-to-read puff counter. Asthmatics will always know they can count on their puffer during an asthmatic attack, thanks to Darryl's new product. His air case will be introduced into the marketplace during the next year. You'll want to listen to this entire interview where Darryl shares why he feels it's essential that inventors step back, take their time, and learn and do it the right way the first time. He also shares when seeking a business partner, it takes a lot of diligence and patience to find a partner who's the right match for you and your product. And finally, why inventors must realize they don't know everything. They must find and rely on those with expertise in many areas that they lack. Now let's get right to our interview with Darryl Carter. Darryl Carter, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast with us today.
Glad to be here.
Darryl, can you share a bit of your background with our listeners? Where did you grow up and go to school, and what did you do before you became an inventor? Can you share that with our listeners?
Yes, I grew up in Monroe, Louisiana, which is in the north part of Louisiana. Went to college at Grambling State University. Played football there on Eddie Robinson. Played a little bit of pro football. And then after football, I got into sales with different companies. After that, I had my first invention, which was the magic shaver.
So you've had a pretty diverse and interesting background, like I said, growing up in Monroe, Louisiana, the northern part of Louisiana, and then going to school in Grambling University, and then playing football. And you actually played in the pros for a while as well, you said, right?
That's right. I had to play up there about 2 years.
Yeah. Who did you play for?
Played with the Jets.
Oh, cool. All right. That's such an interesting story. I think you're the first pro football player I've had on the podcast. So that's amazing. Darryl, you recognize that millions of people suffer from asthma every week. Many people carry portable inhalers or puffers that can quickly deliver medicine to the lungs to relieve symptoms. The problem comes when the puffer runs out of inhalant, just when the asthma sufferer needs it most. Can you share with our listeners the aha moment that caused you to invent a better solution? And also, how does your puffer work better than others on the market? Can you share that with us?
Sure. Back in October 17, 1997, I was riding around with a client of mine, and I would get something that I smelled that made me have an asthma attack. And I was using my inhaler, but at that time, the inhaler didn't have a counter on it. And what we found out was the inhaler was empty. And I wound up spending about 3 weeks in the hospital because of that. And when I came out of the hospital, I decided I can't let this happen again because it was very serious. So I started looking for items that maybe have a puffer counter or pill box, one of those two things, because people that have serious asthma sometimes carry medicine called prednisone with them, which it'll stop asthma attack as you having it. I didn't have none of that with me. So I started looking for things that would accommodate me and found out there was nothing on the market that would do that. That's when the asthma inhaler release case, also known as the air case, came to fruition, as you would think. And one thing that makes what my air case does, it's not different from your inhaler, but what it does, it holds your inhaler and it has a pill box on it that you can hold maybe 5 to 10 pills. And it has a GPS chip on it so that if you lose it, you can find it. And it allows you to keep your medicine with you at all times because it has a belt clip on it that you can put on with your belt or you can put it in your purse. Those are some of the things that makes it more convenient. Secondly, it's one of the first items that really address the needs of the asthmatic or the COPD patient.
You gave us a lot for our listeners to consider. That's an amazing story. And Darryl, as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. And sure enough, as you described so clearly in October of 1997, you had an asthma attack and you got your puffer, but it was literally out of puffs because it did not have a counter or anything that would show you whether it was fully used or not. And that landed you in the hospital for 3 weeks. This became your aha moment because I'm sure as you thought about it, first of all, the fear and the cost and everything that went with all of that, you almost surely thought, I bet this happens to millions of people. So you started looking for a better way. First of all, you started looking for something to solve the problem. And so many inventors, you didn't see anything out there. You were looking for basically a device that had a puffer counter so you could know if you needed to get a new one that was almost out. And you also recognized in your own circumstances and those of many asthmatics, that you will be taking some pills as part of that. And I think you mentioned prednisone in particular. So having a carrier, as you call it, your air case that would hold not only the puffer, that would also incorporate a counter so you could know how many puffs you had left, and an area to carry some pills. So that was always with you. And then you did like every good inventor, you took it a couple more steps. And that is, you added a clip so it could clip onto a belt or onto a purse, a GPS so you could find it if you lost it, and all of those things. So I think that's an amazing story. And I think it also illustrates for our listeners the way you take what initially starts out as a raw idea, right? In other words, okay, I really need to have a puffer counter. And you think, what else does an asthmatic need? And then you started adding some additional things to that. I think that's an amazing story.
Thanks. Let me add one thing to that. Since then, they do have puff counters now on the inhalers, but the problem with that, the number on that puff counter is so small you can barely see it. And like myself, I don't look at it as much as I should be looking at it to see how many puff I have left. So what I did with my air case, I've added a dose reminder on there so that when puff count on the case gets below 50, it will vibrate or it will tell you it's time to reorder your inhaler.
Just going to say, and that's fantastic. Yet it's an extra reminder that makes your device even more indispensable. During the years that I've known you and worked with you, I've seen your determination to move forward and make progress with your invention. You've achieved something quite rare, and that is finding a business partner to work with you in developing and rolling out the product. Can you share with our listeners who may be seeking a business partner any tips and tricks to landing and working with a good business partner that you've discovered?
This is not my first time doing it. My first invention, I was the inventor, I was the manufacturer, and then the company also hired me to sell it in across the country to the key accounts. One thing I learned through that process is that you have to take your time and do everything right the first time. With this second invention, I just took my time trying to find the right people, and you go through the different steps by getting your drawings together, getting your patent together, and then you would have to present it to quite a few people before you find somebody that you feel comfortable with. But you really just patience and take your time and try to do everything right the first time. And if you don't know how to do something, take the time and find an expert to guide you in the right direction.
That makes perfect sense. And I presume as part of that, in finding a good partner, you want to make sure that you're both on the same page, that you're looking at the growth and the planning of the business, et cetera, in the same way. Would you agree with that?
Yes, yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Every invention runs into roadblocks and challenges. So I'd like to ask you, what has been your biggest challenge so far with developing your product? And then also, what are your next steps, and when can we expect to see it for sale in the marketplace?
The biggest challenge was just taking my time and finding the right person or the right company to license it to. And you have to really take your time and show it to different people. Also, I gained a lot of information by going to your boot camp, your inventors boot camp, as far as how to present it and taking your time and finding different companies and how to get to the gatekeepers, so to speak. That worked out real well. But the way I found my partner now, I actually went to this company to get them to, I was going to hire them to make my prototype. And it just so happened the day that I called, I was talking to the owner of the company. So I sent him the information, and my drawings and all the information on the air case itself. And he looked at it and he called me back about 2 weeks later and asked me would I consider having his company as a partner. He let me know what he wanted to do and how he wanted to structure everything. And I said, that sounds great to me. And I asked him, I said, look, from my license standpoint, how much are you willing to pay from a license standpoint? And he asked me how much I wanted. I said, I know the standard is 10%, but I was able to negotiate 33% and the reason why I had a lot of expertise on the marketing of it, the market size of it. I had my CAD computer drawing. I also had some models that I had done that when you do the model, you find out what you might need to improve and what you might not need to improve. So I had a lot of information that his company didn't have to do. So that's why I was able to get the 33% licensing royalty agreement. Also, let me follow up with, it's going to be probably another 12 months before it gets on the market.
And there's several good points, once again, that you illustrate here. And one of them is it truly, doing it in reverse, it truly takes a while to bring a product onto the market, even once it's fully fledged, fully fleshed out, and you've got your final prototype and design and all the rest. Rolling out into the marketplace is still a time-consuming process that takes more time than a lot of inventors. Even when you license directly to a company, it can readily be as much as 6 to 9 months before you'd see a first royalty check from it before it really starts hitting the market. That's not unusual at all. Back, the other thing is you stress, and again, you've brought this up several times, but first of all, you highlighted that you stepped back, you took your time, you looked for the right person, the right process. And as you mentioned, which I appreciate the compliment for sure, that the boot camps that you attended were helpful as well. Boot camp for inventors is a real joy for me, and I'm always happy that it does help inventors to really know the way that people on the other side of the table look at things. But then sometimes when you're really focused on bringing your dream forward and you're looking for every opportunity, a little bit of, I would call it maybe serendipity or the principle of attraction. You went to this company looking for them to make your prototypes, and they took a look at what you had. They liked it a lot, and they came back and offered something expanded beyond just making a prototype. They offered to become your partner. And that turned out to be a great literal partnership working with them. And you were able to negotiate a really nice royalty based on your knowledge and expertise. So once again, congratulations on that and so much progress in moving this product forward. That is such a needed product because there's millions and millions of people who are affected by asthma and COPD and other kinds of breathing issues. And so this is fantastic.
It's definitely needed. You got 26 million asthmatics in the United States and 16 million COPD patients, with us, I think close to a total maybe 40 million people in the United States that needs the product. And it's got another 400 million across the world. So it's definitely needed.
Those are great numbers from a business perspective for sure. As we roll towards a close, I'd like to ask you, are there any parting words you'd like to leave us with?
The biggest thing from an inventor standpoint is just be patient. And if you got to show your product 100 times for that one person to just become your business partner, you have to take your time and realize that it's always somebody out there that's going to say yes. Even after you go through 99 no's, you still have to be patient, and because you want the right chemistry. And you also, as an inventor, you got to learn you don't know everything. So you're going to bump into other people that have expertise in different other areas, and you have to rely on their expertise to help you get to where you want to go. Again, being patient and being willing to work with others.
Thanks so much for sharing that. And what I took out is obviously patience, which we all know is true, but sometimes we forget. And also you highlighted persistence. You've got to be willing to show it as many times as you need to show it. You're looking for somebody who's got the right chemistry. And again, the old salesman creed that if you've had 10, 20, 30, 50, 99 no's, the next one could be your yes, but you're not going to know if you don't stay in the game and stick with it. And then also, you also raised something that I think a lot of inventors make a mistake in this front, and that is recognizing the expertise of other people and how they can help you fill in areas where your expertise may be lacking. Would you agree with that?
Most definitely, because sometimes as an inventor, you get so involved in what you have created and you miss a lot of things. Good example. I'm not an engineer, especially dealing with plastic or anything like that. So I can come up with something, but an engineer is going to be able to tell you, is it going to be feasible to be made? Is it going to be cost efficient? Is it cost real cheap to get it made? A lot of things that other people bring to the table that you have to be honest and say, okay, I don't know, let these experts tell me which way to go. Because if you don't, you're wasting your time.
Darryl, my last question is, how can our listeners reach you if they have other questions?
You can reach me right now on a cell phone, which is going to be the best way. And that number is 214-707-7266.
Brave man getting after your cell phone number, but I think you may be hearing from some of our listeners because there's a lot of value in the story you've shared with us. But again, just to highlight your cell phone number, which you certainly don't mind them calling you on, is 214-707-7266. And I'd like to close by thanking you so much for being on the podcast with us today and sharing your stories, the challenges you've had in bringing this product forward, and the excitement you have in recognizing that while there's 40 million people who have a need for a product like this just in the US and something like 400 million worldwide. So that's an amazing demand and need for this product. I'd like to finally reserve the opportunity, maybe another 6 months or a year, to follow up with you again and have you back on the podcast to share with us the next phase of rolling out your product.
Yeah, that would be no problem. I'll be looking forward to it.
Sounds great. So once again, thanks so much for being on the podcast with us.
Okay, then thank you.
So you're done searching for your product and it's not out there. Yay! Maybe you filed for a provisional patent and done some marketing research or surveys. Heck, maybe you've even created a rough prototype, then found that, although it kind of works, it looks like something from the Stone Age. You'd be embarrassed to show it to your friends, much less to a manufacturer for a licensing pitch. What if I could put you in touch with a guy who offers free consultations, takes no money down, no money up front, and will give you a quote on your project before he starts? What if I told you that this same guy can help you design your product and make you a virtual prototype before you ever put a penny into building a physical one? What if I told you he could make you patent drawings, CAD files for manufacturing, and even make marketing videos and build you a website? If this sounds like someone you want to talk to, let me introduce you to my first podcast sponsor, Brian Keast at I Draw Dreams for Inventors. With 3.5 years of trade school and 15 years of mechanical experience working as a mechanic for General Motors, you have someone that's seen countless design failures and how they were fixed. Also, he had a 25-year career as a general contractor who designed his own houses and remodels on computer-aided design. In getting plans through countless building departments, he gained a tremendous amount of experience by working directly with structural engineers. The many years of combined experience in these two careers gave him a unique look into stresses and failures in design. He brings this wealth of knowledge and experience to his company, I Draw Dreams, as the CAD guy who will design a product for you that will work. Every inventor I've referred to Brian has come away delighted with the work he has done for them, and I think you will too. Just make sure to tell them that Alan sent you. Thanks so much for tuning in to Inventors Helping Inventors. If you like the show, please tell your friends about it. Make sure to subscribe in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts so you won't miss a single episode. Talk to you soon.